Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is the Hoff, and today I'm bringing you an update on my new mower, giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly with this mower since I've gotten rid of my Works Landroid that used to be right in here. So as you see, there's a wire there, and I buried the wire underneath, and I got to do something there to protect that wire. That's why all this grass is here, because I don't want to end up have the mower run it over, nor do I want my trimmer to run it over, and I got to trim the rest of the area up. This mower is made by Mammotion, so it is a China company. They're getting a lot of things established here in the U.S., so it's kind of hit or miss on their support, but I will say with the updates, they are pushing out a lot of big and good updates, so things are getting better since the Kickstarter has released that some people gotten. I wasn't a part of the Kickstarter, just so you know. I have the 1000 model. So basically, let me give you a rundown what this is. I got the paper here just to make sure I don't miss anything. My model is the 1000, so it's 1,000 meters squared, so 0.25 acres for all you people interested. This is all-wheel drive. So with mine, you have the omnidirectional tires on the front. The 3000 model has the omnidirectional tires on the front, and then the 5000 looks like they swapped back to the same tires that I have on the rear, which have a bigger tread and they're not omnidirectional. And it says it has a for the 5000 model does a higher slope for the maximum climbing ability, where mine only does 65%. I think that does like 70 or 75. This one can do thick and rough terrain for the grass, so thick grass with rough terrain. I've had no problems. That back was pretty high, and I just sent the sensors to like nothing and told it, unless you bump into something, just keep mowing. And it just chewed down that grass, and it's been greening up over time. I didn't want to kind of do an unboxing and go over this stuff because there's already so many videos. So this one will cover around 350 square meters per hour max. It's got a 4.5 milliamp battery, so that's about 2 hours, and that's on par. I've seen 2 hours, so soon, because it's been going for a while now, it's probably going to come back to charge very soon. Cutting height, it can do anywhere from 30 to 70 millimeters, so pretty good cutting height. If you want shorter grass, I heard they're making one that can do taller grass. This one does virtual boundaries. So essentially what that means is you have an RTK station, which I'll talk more on later, that receives satellites, and then the Luba itself will receive satellites, and they essentially need to see the same amount of satellites and have a significant amount of them to get good positioning in your yard. So with that virtual boundary, what that means is you basically control it with your phone, like an RC car, and you drive it around setting up the boundaries. There's been plenty of videos showcasing how that is. That's the newest technology with a lot of mowers that don't use a LiDAR system to create boundaries. You can do no-go zones with this. So same premise, you're just driving around the zone and you keep a little distance between your house, the boundary area, and the no-go zone. So as you're setting all that up, I believe it's around a 10-inch difference is what I kept, and that's worked fairly well for me. It does automatic charging, so as soon as it realizes it needs to charge up, when it has about 15% left, it will start charging. It will come back, and with the way I have mine set up is it just follows a straight path to the charger and a straight path back to going out and finishing up the job. And it will keep going until the job is finished, and you can set up schedules and everything. It does say it is waterproof for IPX6, which I'll talk more on that. And then in case you're wondering the size, 70 in diameter, 53 width, 25 height, and that is all in centimeters for that. But okay, let me go and give you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the good, it works phenomenal when it is working for most people. I haven't really had any issues other than the occasional stopping and losing positioning, and that's just on me because of where I have the RTK. I'm currently waiting and will mount the RTK station up on my roof at a high point. I just don't have the ladder, so I'm getting assistance in that, and when they can do it, they'll set it up. Mine did come with, and I believe most are coming with, a separate power cord for the RTK station, because you have one power cord it comes with that the RTK station will go into the base down below here, and then a power cord from the base will go into your wall that I showed you. So you can have it connected like this, and if you have it in a large open area, then you'll have no problem with your RTK. But what you really want is to mount it as high up as possible on your house where it has an unobstructed view, 360 degree, and you'll be fine. But the problem with these is these are getting water. Now, I don't want to touch and move it, but I have sealed with this clear silicone sealant all around all these crevices from here all around, because including the LED, because we're not sure as customers where water is potentially seeping in, but water is seeping in here somehow, some way. And that will eventually have a lot of water that builds up and hits the electronics, and then your RTK station just doesn't work. And when that doesn't work, Luba will not work whatsoever, because they need to both determine the positioning of where Luba is at in the yard. So right now, that is definitely an issue. Don't know how they're working on it. I haven't seen anyone mention if they got a new RTK that was better design on sealing everything, or if it's the same. But that is a current issue, and some people are trying to cover it. I've even heard someone putting it inside of their house up in their attic space, and they claim they get 40 satellites. Not sure how well that works, if that is actually truthful and possible, but they said it. I personally wouldn't do it, and I try to get it on the highest point that you can in your house. But definitely, this is, other than these issues I'm describing, the best mower right now in the market, because right now it is the only one that is all-wheel drive, and the all-wheel drive capability, as I will tell you, is leagues better than anything else on the market. I've seen, even with my works, that was the best one for a boundary wire. It would create ruts in my yard. The blade that's out there creates ruts in the yard. So anything that is not all-wheel drive seems to have issues with ruts in the yard that it will just dig in and create. So that is definitely not something that you want. And this one has had no issues with that whatsoever. The other issue is with the Luba itself. So Luba itself, all the way out there, is said to be IPX6 waterproof. But they've now had to change the way that they suggest that you clean it. Before, you could clean the underside with the hose, no issue. Now they're saying they want you to stick it on its side and no high pressure to the underside, as some believe that there are some seals in there that get broken up, like rubber seals or whatever, that might get broken from the higher pressure hitting it from the water and seeping in and then damaging Luba. So that is definitely something to be concerned with. I know my model looks like they have modified a few things The rear wheels are different than what was shown originally and what the 5000 models come with on the rear wheels. And it looks like the newer 5000 models were also coming with these wheels, where instead of the tread pattern being slanted, it is horizontal straight across. So looks like they've made some improvements maybe in that aspect. And there are some guards on the blades, because this has 2 discs with 3 blades each per disc. And with that, it looks like they have taken the guards and made them much smaller. So I personally don't have any huge clumps of grass, but yet I don't have a lot of rainy days. And when my grass is fairly wet, I don't have it mowing. I think I don't even start mowing till 10 a.m. with this. That's my setup right now, is a scheduled mow at 10. And I have it do a grid pattern, and I have it going at the 0.3 speeds. And it's done with the backyard after all the charging and everything at 5 p.m. as it goes, mows, cuts. And with the grid pattern, mine's a double grid pattern. So it goes one way, then it goes the opposite way, creating that checkerboard pattern. With the 1000 model, you only get 3 zones as well. You get more zones with the 3 and the 5000. I know the 5000 goes up to 10 zones. And so what that means is I have my backyard set all as one zone. Then from about here on the side of my house, I tell it that this area is another zone, and to go up into the front as a zone, and there's a no-go zone up there. And then I do the same thing for the other side of my house over there on up that side, so it doesn't have to cross a driveway or sidewalk or anything. I just have the different zones set up, and it just drives around all the grass to get to where it needs to go. But should you need to, you can set up the boardwalks areas, so it will go over a driveway or a sidewalk if need be to get to another portion of your grass. And I did see, as long as I didn't start in the same area right here, I could have both zones overlap a little bit, but it didn't let me start in one area. That it's a task area, as it's called, that you set up. So I was able to do that. The bump sensors and all the other sensors work fairly well, but the more sensitive that you want it to be with the higher level, it will sense like higher grass and dandelions that are up high in those 4 sensors it has on top as obstacle to avoid. And if there's a lot of them, it will just say I can't cut and stop. That I've seen as well. So when you're trying to cut with a lot of tall weeds and grass, definitely use the high grass sensor setting. You can do custom, so it still cuts low, but it will not have those sensors sense the weeds and tall or grass as an obstacle and then get stuck. This thing is fairly quiet, so you can even cut at night, which I know in certain areas a lot of people don't recommend. Unlike my works, there's no LCD screen. It is just buttons on it. There are 2 little sensors on it for rain, so you can tell it not to mow when it's wet. But what I will say with that is sometimes in the morning at 10, my sprinklers would have went off early, and where I have it, it's sometimes a little bit shaded over there, that it will not have enough sun hit to dry it off, and therefore it will have issues in saying it is detected water, and it is not going to right now come out and mow. So that is a little bit of an issue on that, because once it says that, it doesn't want to go out and mow. When you go to clean it off, you have to tell it to mow again, or if it dries up, you have to tell it to mow again. So that's another little bit of an issue, part on the bad side, not the ugly side. The ugly side just deals with the waterproofing and how that's not straight, and some of the customer service length time. But bad issue, yeah. No notifications, so you have to check the app regularly. So some people have actually went and mounted cameras on theirs and got cameras so they can actually track it down if you have a bigger yard, and they could see where theirs is at. I have cameras around my house in the front and back, so I could see where it's at and what it's doing, and I can double check while I'm working, and then come out here and see how well it's doing and all the things going on with it. If you guys are interested in this, I'm telling you, this is the best one on the market. Just take care with those issues. Like, I would recommend the underside cleaning is something that you just use, like boar's head brush or some kind of car cleaning softer bristle brush to clean the underside, and a microfiber towel. You can even wipe off the top. I've done that a couple times. Haven't done it recently, but mine doesn't get fairly dirty that often. And I would try to keep it in an area where at least I haven't seen any issues with my Luba getting water from the top. I wouldn't try to clean with water underneath. Hey, look, it's going to dock, so it is dead. Or it's not dead, but it's at 15%. But yeah, I wouldn't clean the underside with water, regardless of what they say. I would take heat on that one. And I would seal up your RTK station before you have it fully mounted. And once you mount it, understand that that RTK station cannot be moved. You can move the base station all you want, but when you put the RTK up, leave it. If you're going to move it, first, I would say delete your schedule, then delete the task areas, and then when it's back up, recreate your task areas and recreate your schedules. Because I've heard where people said that they've deleted their task area and they had phantom schedules of old schedules happening, and I guess maybe it was the same task area as well, because they said it didn't mow correctly as it should have. So I don't know if that's been updated and fixed with newer versions, because that was older firmware that it was on. So understand that. Those that bought into the Kickstarter, they also got a mat, because as you see right here, I don't know if you could tell too well. Maybe see, I can go from here. You can see these lines that it keeps creating, because it keeps going back and forth a lot more than it does in the yard, and it is kind of eating up into that area more often. And so from right there where it does this 0 degree turn and then backs up, it's kind of eating up that spot. So that might need to be something to look at and address. I don't know if maybe even you want to put down, some people have had it go over some bricks, concrete. I've heard people get floor mats and use a floor mat. I'm even thinking, what if you use turf, artificial? But definitely I don't want to put artificial like right there, because turf, at least when it comes to sports, has potentially been linked to a lot of people and injuries, what they claim, when playing on turf. And I want this grass to be better for the kids, which is why I want to try to get this all nice and neat and then level this lawn out so the kids have a nice level lawn to play on without any divots to have any issues. If you guys have any questions, like I said, please ask. I'll comment down below. There are 2 different Reddits for the Mammotion. One is Mammotion Technology, which is official. So that's where you'll get people from support that will chime in and they can help, as well as other people that are just customers with knowledge that can potentially help. And then you have a Mammotion one that was created because the Mammotion Technology was private. So no longer private, but it was. So because of it, people didn't want to jump through hoops to get into that one, so they created the Mammotion one, and you can get help there. There's also a few Facebook groups depending on where you live. There's US only, and then there's broader ones, and there are support in some of those groups as well. But Reddit is fairly good, and there's people on Reddit, including like a few other YouTubers, that will talk about their experiences and upload videos and stuff like that. So just keep all that in mind. I will answer any questions you guys have. I know they're working on big updates, so they've updated to allow the no-go boundaries have laps going around it, so it cuts those boundaries better. And I noticed a major improvement. I think once I mount that RTK on my roof, I'll have a much better experience in the sides and the front, and that's just on me, that's not on this. And then supposedly there's a rumor that they're going to allow you to control this like an RC car and mow. So hopefully look out for that in the future. And if that does become a thing, then for those of you that have issues where there's trees in your yard, you'll be able to cut those sections where the tree's going to cover it and it might get caught up underneath of it yourself. Now, I don't know if that means that it has to be inside the task area, or if it can be a whole another area that's not a task area and it will allow you to start it and drive it and mow that area or not. Not too sure, but just wait and see if it becomes a thing. Apart from that, I think that should cover all of the various good, bad, and ugly things. Just remember, seal up your RTK. Don't use any kind of high pressure water on the RTK nor on Luba itself. I would use a damp cloth to clean off Luba when you want to clean it, and a brush that is something softer like a boar's hair brush to clean Luba, and change your razor blades out that do the cutting, your cutting blades. I do know there were some issues, so some people got some free blades, including myself. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And again, I'll answer and say any questions you guys might have. But yes, by far, this is the best mower out there. Any other mower out there is like not going to compare to this in the way that this does its cutting, the slope, the all-wheel drive, none of that. Some may do larger areas in the 5000, they're commercial grade, but I haven't seen anything with all-wheel drive that can compete with this. So if you have to do it because you have a larger property, buy multiple of these and they will connect all of them to the same RTK station. You just have to make changes within the app. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.